Well, ladies and gentlemen, last night I saw a lovely news expo about the amount of cleavage a Barbie shows. Yes, apparently America thinks that's great news now. So, I'm going to demonstrate to you about how bad news is really getting these days. And believe me, it's a lot worse than you will ever imagine. Scientists have recently discovered that Jupiter has lost one of its colors of gas. Now, most people wouldn't think this is a concern, but I find an issue with this. Because I want to know what's going on in my solar system. With 2012 on the verge, I want to know when my world is going to end. And if this band had anything to do with the end of the world, well then I just might want to know. And to even think that the audacity of Fox News says that the Barbie's cleavage is more important than our solar system, then by God, they're hypocrites. Now scientists have said this has happened before, so I'm not entirely worried. Our ring will always come back to us in the end. However, the reason I bring this up is because I see that it's not reported very well in the media. Trust me, I had to Google search this, and I found it by accident. And if they think that some Barbie is more important than our Jupiter, then I can't believe that. Can you believe that?
No.
I certainly can. In fact, I asked my consultant, Luke Deckow, #1 man to go to when it comes to these media bias questions. And I'll show you what he said. In another topic we have today, a little old lady drove her scooter down the highway. No, I'm not talking any little old lady, I'm talking the little old lady with a breathing apparatus on her hover-round down the highway in Arizona. Why, might you ask? To go to a casino. How might she have been stopped, you ask? She wasn't. In fact, she was riding along the side of the road so well that her hover-round tipped over and knocked her out. Needless to say, she couldn't get back up and into the hover-round. So, the police had to come and investigate what was going on, and the ambulance had to pick her up and make sure that her vitals were fine. And yet again, this is America's addiction to gambling. Can you believe that?
No.
I bet Luke Deckow has something to say about that. That's right, Luke. I agree. Now, I bring this up again because you would think that domestic gambling issues would be such a broad aspect for the media to cover. However, they instead neglected it to an online video. There was in fact footage of this online video. However, the article itself was very limited. I can see that gambling isn't quite an issue for the media to be worrying about so much. So what was this week's big number in the media? Well, not surprisingly, it had to deal with oil, as it's been for the past 5 years. Thank you, President Bush. Thousands upon thousands of gallons of oil are being lost every day, thanks to what I'd like to call manufacturing error. I don't know about typical engineers, and I may not be one myself, but I can't imagine why you would only put one cut-off on a valve that is going to be spilling over 35,000 gallons of oil per day. What engineer is currently taking the faux pas for that kind of incident? But instead they only decided on one? They couldn't do segments or anything? Now I have little to say about the media bias here. I mean, this has been very, very well covered. But I will say that it's unfair that this one is more covered than the rest. Isn't that right, Luke Deckow? About a week ago in New York, there was a bomber. Well, needless to say, an attempted bomber. He was believed to have placed a car in the middle of Times Square, one of the decks, to cause an explosion. Let me just read that. The other day in Times Square, there was a bomb that was set and attempted to go off by one Iranian man. Now, this sounds very tragic and like something that would grip our nation. However, he has turned terrorism into a joke with popular news things, such as him leaving his keys in the getaway car, him leaving his keys in the bomb car, and upon getting back to his apartment for the next day, leaving his keys in the blowing up car. Are we supposed to be afraid of this man or pity him? I'm not entirely sure. Quite frankly, I don't know what to say to this one. This is a failed attempt on our nation, very, very hoarsely done so. Now, here's a debate between my very, very Republican consultant, Robert, and my very, very Democratic consultant, Carter Burgess.
Alright, tonight we'll be debating between Rob and Carter, my other consultant on the opposite side of the party, about 3 topics. And our first one, Times Square bomber, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Go!
It was a failed attempt. Well, yeah. We need to